What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out India's modern military, the Armchair Historian. I am excited for this one. I've checked out a few of their videos a couple times now on this channel, actually, and they're phenomenal. The quality of the animation, the storytelling is always absolutely brilliant. I am so excited for this video because I didn't know they did a video on the India's military, so I am genuinely excited for this. If you haven't already, go check out the Armchair Historian. There'll be a link down below. Their channel is brilliant. They're at 2.46 million subscribers right now. Let's get them to let's just get them higher because they deserve it. The amount of quality of production in this. Head over there, give them a subscribe and all that good stuff. Before we get started though, check out Chug for the best drinking vessel in the world. 10% off, link down below. Do you know how many people have sent me images that they've bought them and they're like, Luke, this thing is absolutely the best bit of kit possible. They are genuinely really, really well designed. Handmade, by the way, here in the UK by a small business. Ships to America. Free customization, free bag, 10% off, link down below. You can't get a better deal anywhere else, and these things are genuinely phenomenal. Also, on Saturday, Morale launches to the general public. On Saturday, after nearly 2 years of hard work, it launches on Saturday, which is just insane. If you want to drink a drink that'll align with your ethos of being outside, this is my thing. I love the outdoors. I love getting people outside. I believe that kids from the ages of, as early as possible, all the way through at least primary school age, should be outside 90% of the time. They really should. They should be doing things outside and learning about nature and learning about the fungi and the names of trees and the sounds that different birds make. I know it sounds trivial and it doesn't really apply to a modern job, but a connection to nature at such a young age builds a foundation for an individual who respects the outdoors and has a healthy lifestyle. And I believe that so much. And the idea with Morale is to take the profits and get people outside more. That's the idea of it. And it launches this Saturday. Those of you who back the Kickstarter, I am packing your orders as we speak. And yeah, it's very exciting. If you want to join the movement, head to the Instagram, head to the website. It's going to be a journey, and it starts this Saturday. Other than that, let's pull this up. Let's check this out. Let me start from the beginning, and let's crack on.
Check out Armchair History TV, where we release uncensored, exclusive videos every week.
Wait.
We just started a new series on the Great Northern War. Use code Carolean for a completely free month subscription.
What?
You can also watch our full exclusive 45-minute documentary on the 7 Years' War, which we just completed.
All right, I'm a bit of a history nerd, guys. As I get older, I'm one of them dads that just gets into history. I'm going to have to subscribe to this. I love watching History Hit TV and all these other ones. I didn't know Armchair History had their own TV channel, and I am 100 million % going to subscribe to it. Very excited.
Over 1.4 billion people call the Republic of India home. The world's most populous country is a melting pot of languages, religions, and cultures.
I fucking love India so much. It is literally the biggest spiritual place in the world. Talk about spirituality that's connected with nature. India, whoo! They know how to do beliefs and spirituality and religion properly, don't they?
Landscapes stretch from arid desert to steaming jungle, from soaring temples to red brick forts. This unprecedented variety of people and places makes India the powerhouse it is today.
Yeah, it
but
really
as
is.
history shows, people and places are hardly enduring. They need to be fought for.
That's the unfortunate reality of the world, isn't it? Is when you've got something as beautiful as that, you really have to fight to protect it, don't you?
Modern India is a nation forged in conflict. After over a century of British rule, the Indian subcontinent was controversially partitioned, leading to the Indo-Pakistani War of 1947 to 1948. The early Indian military, still largely led by British officers, seized the majority of the disputed region of Kashmir in the mountainous north, and would consolidate its control over other areas in the subsequent years. though not without leaving India with a flurry of border disputes that
Can I just say, as a Brit, yes, I'm American as well, but as a British individual, as a person from England, I'm sorry, India. And I know words don't cut it, but the shit that Britain did to India after watching... In fact, I watched a video by the Armchair Historian, actually, about this very topic on this channel. Just the shit that they did back then was just horrific, wasn't it? It was horrible. I don't understand how individuals are able to do stuff like that and be able to sleep at night. It honestly blows me mind. Maybe that's a credit to my parents and how they raised me, and maybe not everyone in the world is raised that well to grow up with empathy and understanding and acceptance of different types of people and cultures and beliefs and ways of living. So thank you, Mum and Dad, for doing that. But yeah. I love India a lot. I think it's an absolutely beautiful place. It is I'm a bit of a spiritual guy as well, which I'm a bit of a hippie, for those of you who don't know. And India fascinates me. Hinduism, Santa Dharma fascinates me. I've got the Bhagavad Gita back there. What an insane book. And considering how old it is, whew.
reverberate into the present. Despite its precarious security situation, the Indian military was initially an underfunded force that relied on a strategy of defense in depth. Unfortunately, this doctrine restricted the ability of the armed forces to respond to limited incursions, such as the case in India's 1962 conflict with China. Renewed conflict with Pakistan provided India an opportunity to refine its military doctrine, leading to a gradual mechanization of the army and a focus on overwhelming offensives. The modern geopolitical and strategic situation of India exists in the shadow of its early conflicts. Namely, the country possesses numerous contested borders with neighboring China and Pakistan.
I mean, everywhere it looks, India, there seems to be people trying to hurt them, or just borders being disputed in general. Everywhere they look, nearly.
As a result of Pakistan's close relationship with China, India has long pursued a counterbalancing relationship with Russia. However, as the war in Ukraine calls Russia's reliability into question, India has begun to pursue closer defense relationships with Western countries like the United States and France.
Although they did just do that thing where India's leader met up with China and Russia and all that lot. So there is some relationship still there.
The Indian military's strategic doctrine closely reflects its geopolitical situation. Overwhelmingly geared toward countering the threats posed by Pakistan and China, the Indian military is heavily concentrated in the country's north and west. While the Indian military has historically been organized to deliver devastating offensives deep into the territory of its rivals, this blunt strategy has proved too rigid to respond to the asymmetric warfare.
I just noticed the image of that rifle then was that bullpup that we Googled in one of the previous videos when we was talking about the Indian military, the Indian SF.
Of the 21st century. As a response to this changing landscape, India has adopted what it calls a cold start doctrine. Under this new strategy, the Indian military has been reorganized into smaller, more flexible battle groups that aim to mobilize quickly and deliver swift conventional strikes against Pakistan in particular.
That makes sense. Compartmentalizing stuff like that, or not even compartmentalizing, but just breaking it up and giving autonomy to smaller sections has always worked. It's always worked. That was like the key thing for SF when the first ever Special Forces was formed with Britain. Like forming such a small group that can look after themselves and have that self-sustainability and make their own decisions is so effective compared to large scale.
In the event of war, India hopes to use its new combat forces to seize limited chunks of Pakistani territory before the international community can intervene. This conquered territory could then be used as a bargaining chip in subsequent negotiations. The Indian Armed Forces are organized into 3 primary service branches: the Army, Air Force, and Navy.
Are they the actual symbols for the 3 of them? Because they are very Western, them symbols, aren't they? The army using the red with the two swords is very much like the British Army. The anchor, I mean, it's tropey stuff, right? The bird for the Air Force, and anchor for the Navy, and swords for the Army. Like, it's very tropey. There's a lot of countries. You can't just point really. I say that Western like we came up with it, and then I don't know whether we did. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. But the tropes of them symbols for the branches of the military, they've gone with them, and it looks good. Looks really good. That's whether that is the actual symbols. I'm presuming it is.
Amplifying the country's focus on land-based territorial defense, the Indian Army is by far the largest branch of the armed forces, with over 1.2 million active personnel.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Than the Air Force and Navy combined, and the largest land force in the world.
Wow.
Securing and safeguarding its vast borders against formidable neighbors like China and Pakistan is a top priority for India's modern military. In the same way, protecting your online activities from malicious actors is crucial.
We got an ad. I'm going to skip the ad. For those of you who watch the channel, you know why I have to skip ads.
Today, doctrinally, the Indian Army has always
obviously like the beginning with the Armchair Historian TV is a little bit different than a normal ad like that because it's their primary stuff, so I'm allowed to do stuff like that. I'm sure I am. I haven't been told I'm not, but I'm guessing I would be able to.
Fixated on the possibility of a 2-front war against China and Pakistan. The rough terrain of the Chinese-Indian border and the technological superiority of the Chinese military make a ground conflict with India's northern neighbor exceptionally unappealing. For this reason, the Army's 2018 land warfare doctrine prioritizes de-escalation and deterrence with China, while advocating for a more provocative approach to Pakistan.
I mean, it makes sense, right? India, Pakistan they've always had beef, haven't they? They've always had that beef.
Enable rapid advances against its enemies, the Indian Army has steadily focused on mechanizing its massive force, a priority reflected in its organization. Indian Army units are divided into 2 types of formations: Strike Corps and Holding Corps. Strike Corps prioritize mechanized warfare and feature a greater portion of India's tank force of over 3,700 vehicles.
This is by far the best video I've seen breaking down the military and how it's structured. Because I'm yet to see a video like this that really kind of... I'm a visual person, so visually showing me the structure of the Indian military, really, really good.
Holding Corps, on the other hand, are more static contingents, well suited to defense. In the event of a war, these Holding Corps would be expected to pin down opposing forces, while the more maneuverable Strike Corps roll deep into enemy territory. In recent years, the equipment of the Indian Army has undergone significant modernization and increased reliance on domestic manufacturing.
Made in India, AK-203. I've not heard of that before. Obviously, it's an AK variant, but I've not heard of that before. AK-203. Can someone in the comments let me know what that weapon is like and if it's liked by the Indian military? 7.62, so it's standard rounds,
but still remains behind many other world powers in these respects. Many armored vehicles used by the Indian Army, like the T-72, T-90, or BMP-2, are Russian or Soviet in origin, though a large portion of these are manufactured locally in India. Recently, the Indian Army has begun incorporating a greater variety of Indian equipment, such as the Arjun tank, into their arsenal.
The Arjun tank, I don't know anything about that either. That's a new one to me as well.
This is a trend that the Indian government is hoping to encourage. While the Indian Army has geared up for an armored conflict, much of the branch's recent experience has been low-grade counterinsurgency fighting in the disputed region of Kashmir. To fight this conflict, the Indian Army relies on a light infantry force known as the Rashtriya Rifles, which is a designated counterinsurgency group focused on internal security. While smaller in scope, this guerrilla war has been costly. Since 1989, the Indian Army has suffered more casualties combating insurgents than it has in any of its high-intensity military conflicts.
6,000 since 1989? Wow. They're really fighting a mini war up there, aren't they? That's insane. 6,000?
Despite its current commitment to counterinsurgency, India has the capacity to massively escalate any conflict with its stockpile of approximately 150 to 200 nuclear weapons. Possessing the ability to deploy nuclear devices from land, sea, or air-based platforms, India is the only country outside of the UN Security Council confirmed to possess a nuclear triad.
Yeah, and they have some of the best best intelligence units in the world. I've heard that India's intelligence units are literally some of the best. Now, 90% of them resources go to getting intel on Pakistan, but the intel apparently is phenomenal at their job.
Though India has committed to not be the first member of a conflict to use nuclear weapons, India's nuclear-armed rival, Pakistan, has not agreed to any such limitation. This volatile combination has deeply influenced the strategy of the Indian military, as evidenced by the limited offensives favored in India's Cold Start doctrine.
Yeah.
The Indian military is skewed heavily toward land warfare, but that is not to say that it lacks assets elsewhere.
Can we just appreciate how good these visuals are by the armchair historian? Like how well they've done with this animation? Absolutely phenomenal, isn't it?
In fact, the Indian Air Force is the fourth largest in the entire world, with 730 combat-capable aircraft. Historically, concentrated primarily against Pakistan, the Indian Air Force has undergone significant doctrinal shifts in recent years, as India seeks to transition the service from an army support role to an independent tool of power projection. Complicating the expanded mission of the Indian Air Force is its eclectic and sometimes outdated collection of airframes.
We were looking at these during the Hell March, or the parade that they did at the aircraft, and I couldn't identify some of them. It still uses MiG-21s. They're old. They're old.
Attempts to produce modern Indian-designed combat aircraft have met with much delay and spiraling costs.
Yeah.
As a result,
as always,
the majority of the Air Force's fleet consists of Russian aircraft such as the Su-30 and MiG-29.
Yeah.
The Indian Air Force has also procured a number of aircraft from France, most notably the advanced Dassault Rafale. Despite its
which is a relatively decent, it's a decent aircraft.
Wide variety of aircraft in service, the Indian Air Force remains significantly under strength, with only 31 squadrons operational out of a target of 42. Smaller still is the Indian Navy.
But we know they are growing, though. Just like the Navy, we know that they're getting more aircraft carriers. We know that they're actively working on making their military bigger. This is a thing that's very common knowledge now.
Decades of preparation for land-based conflicts with Pakistan, as well as the heavy fixation on the mountainous northern border, have left the Navy relatively neglected. However, with China making increasingly aggressive moves into the Indian Ocean, India has begun to restructure its navy into a force capable of countering its rival. India's most potent maritime assets are its 2 aircraft carriers, which can carry a combined total of 60 aircraft. In the future, India envisions its navy possessing 3 carrier battle groups.
I heard that they want 5. I might be wrong. I heard that they're aiming to make 5 aircraft carriers in total. I could be wrong there. Someone will have to quote me. Maybe it's changed. Maybe that's newer information. But I heard they're aiming for 5. Let me know in the comments if you believe that to be true.
But the acquisition and construction of these vessels has been marred by delays and cost overruns. Some in the Indian Navy have even suggested abandoning plans for carriers altogether and redirecting funding to smaller drone ships and hypersonic missiles.
That's what the UK is doing. They're going towards an aircraft carrier that only carries drones. So it's like a miniature aircraft carrier specifically for unmanned aircraft. I think that's the way forward. I really do. I think that's a great idea. The smaller, the cheaper to make, the more cost effective, which is the same as saying it's cheaper. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of reasons to go down that path, but there's also a lot of reasons to have a legit aircraft carrier as well, isn't there?
While the Indian Navy does face significant challenges, it is still a powerful.
What happened? Oh no. It froze. No.
Powerful force that is only growing in confidence.
We're back. We're back.
In addition to its costly carriers, the Indian Navy fields 20
Let's go back a little bit.
Ships and hypersonic missiles.
I thought the video was done for then.
While the Indian Navy does face significant challenges, it is still a powerful force that is only growing in confidence.
Yeah, it is.
In addition to its costly carriers, the Indian Navy fields 27 large surface warships and 18 submarines, including 2 nuclear-powered strategic submarines. Complementing this formidable fleet are 160 coastal and patrol craft.
That's a large amount of vessels right there, isn't it? That's nothing to laugh at, that.
Some of which can be armed with small missiles. Nevertheless,
It's done it
India's
again.
fleet remains
No. What's going
significantly
on?
smaller and less capable than China's. A fact that India
I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because I'm constantly pausing it and restart. I don't know what's going on, guys.
has sought to rectify through renewed shipbuilding efforts and military cooperation with the United States. The coming years will likely see significant modernization.
I'm just gonna
of the
let it play.
equipment of the entire Indian military.
I'm just going to let it play.
Ideally, much of this new equipment will come from Indian defense firms,
Yeah.
decreasing the country's current reliance on foreign suppliers such as Russia. It remains to be seen if Indian industry is up to this daunting task.
I've not
But
seen
the
these.
rapid rise of Indian economic power
I'm gonna have to
gives
look into
reason
them.
for some optimism. As India attempts to increase its power projection capabilities, upgrades to the Air Force and Navy will be especially crucial.
Yeah.
In terms of doctrine, India will have to navigate the fraught possibility of fighting a conventional war with its nuclear-armed rivals of Pakistan and China. As China continues to flex its muscles in the Indian Ocean, it will be especially critical for India to find effective strategies
China's
to
got-
contain this growing threat.
The truth is, China's got other things that it's worrying about right now as well. Like, they really do want Taiwan and stuff like that. So I think it's more of a border dispute for them. I think their biggest threat is Pakistan.
Harboring complementary goals, Western nations, such as the United States, will likely seek to collaborate more closely with the rising power of India.
You'd like to hope
Since
so.
its independence over 75 years ago, the Indian armed forces have accomplished much. They have successfully defended the country in a number of conflicts, served countless humanitarian roles, and have never threatened the political process of the world's largest democracy.
Yeah.
That's a legacy worth fighting for.
It's true. Great
Check
video.
out Armchair History TV.
I'm going to be checking out Armchair History TV. I don't know what was going on with the video then. That was really weird how it kept freezing like that. I do apologize. The thing with India, which is always very, very impressive, is they stay... they don't pick sides, and they always pick themselves. They say, look, we're just going to look after ourselves. We're not going to pick sides on anything. And that's always been really impressive. It's always been very impressive. And it's why I admire India's military and their strategy when it comes to global politics. It's very impressive. And they're obviously really working hard to make their military even bigger. And I can see it becoming the powerhouse. I reckon it'll become second or third above Russia easily when it comes to the military power very soon, within the next 5-10 years. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'll leave a link down below to the OG video. Absolutely brilliant video by the Armchair Historian. As always, check out Chug, 10% off, link down below, and check out Morale. We launched this Saturday. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.